Hello, dear participants. I am lecturer Dr. Banu Gökmen Erdoğan from Trakya University, Faculty of Architecture. At the fifth day of the online seminars, I will present the concept of cultural road in the intersection of tourism and conservation. During the week, you listened and watched the videos and live presentations about Edirne and heritage management for engaging both cultural road and potential of Edirne. Today, I want to tell you the cultural road concept in a brief framework. The human species has been in constant translocation almost since its first appearance. While pre-agricultural communities were often on the move to find food and to live in safer shelters, settled communities traveled mostly for commercial purposes. These trips have taken place individually or as a group, programmed or spontaneously, moving from one place to another. As we approach today, travels have become more touristic, and the emotion that moves people have started being the curiosity of discovering other cultures and new places. Especially with the creation of the World Heritage List, interest in cultural assets has increased all over the world, and the travels have been started for cultural tourism worldwide. As a result, venues from tourism activities have started to form an important part of the country's economy. Sustaining the relationship between tourism and cultural heritage assets at a balanced level depends on the absence of excessive touristic pressure on cultural heritage. However, considering the contribution of tourism in the budget to be allocated for the protection of cultural heritage, a holistic approach becomes necessary. At this point, the cultural road concept stands out as an important and sustainable alternative. The word road is mentioned in the dictionary as the path followed, traveled according to opinion and attitude. The concept's entry into the conservation field was in 1984 when the Council of Europe launched the European Cultural Roads Program. The Cultural Roads Program, initiated by the Council of Europe in 1987, demonstrates the contribution of the heritage of different countries of Europe to the common cultural heritage through travel through time and space. The benefits and drawbacks of the concepts of cultural roads, which bring a different approach to cultural tourism, are being studied, especially in the field of tourism and conservation. These studies aim to develop cultural roads with a holistic approach. According to the studies on cultural roads, there are two types of approaches in creating a cultural road. The first of these is the discovery of a road that has existed in the historical periods and bringing it to the fore again. The other is to create a meaning that connects cultural heritage assets determined under a certain theme without pointing to any road from the past or history. The second type of roads can be determined according to factors such as being attractive place, distance, accessibility. Both approaches have been adopted internationally. So what is the criteria and process of road planning? At the beginning of the planning process, subjects such as actors, participants, teams, role sharing, funding sources, draft process schedule should be determined to carry out the process. In addition, the principles of the study should be clarified. Due to their multi-component nature, a systematic planning process should be adopted while creating the roads, and the integrity and continuity of their work should be ensured by clearly defining the cooperation and implementation responsibilities of all actors, both during and after the process. So, what are the components of a cultural road? Today, cultural roads, which have developed as an alternative conservation policy for the protection of cultural and natural heritage and the evaluation of economic potential, include one or more of the following elements. These can be individual historical buildings and or building groups in rural areas or urban centers, archaeological sites and or ruins, intangible cultural heritage such as epics, folk tales, legends, special fauna and flora areas of the region, natural environmental elements such as mountains, canyons, valleys, peaks, lakes, and lastly, traditional life components of that region, such as eating and drinking, belief, language, music, and etc. When we come to Turkey and Turkey's cultural roads, the first planned road in Turkey is the Lycian Way, which has been used since 1999, the road from Fethiye to Antalya, while following the entire Teke Peninsula coast, also stops by the surviving cities and individual traces of the ancient Lycian civilization. The Cultural Roads Association was established in 2012 with the support of the Minister of Cultural Tourism. And you can see the 9 cultural roads of Turkey, which are certificated by the Council of Europe. And I will tell the one of them, rows of the olive tree, at the end of the presentation. Thematic development access has been determined within the scope of the 2023 tourism strategy of the Ministry of Culture and Tourism. In this direction, it is aimed to increase the attractiveness of tourism values on a regional scale, to develop alternative tourism, and to direct investors. The identified 7 thematic tourism corridors are given below as Olive Corridor, Winter Corridor, Faith Tourism Corridor, Silk Road Tourism Corridor, Western Black Sea Coastal Corridor, Highland Corridor, Trace Culture Corridor. In the SWOT analysis report prepared for the potential of Turkey's cultural roads, some strengths of the country defined as below: the richness of tangible and intangible cultural heritage, the cultural accumulation of Anatolia, which has hosted many civilizations, geographical location and climate, various accommodation options, natural protection areas, agricultural product diversity, rich gastronomic culture, the increasing number of studies at universities focused on intangible cultural heritage, and opportunities defined as Turkey's location, historical and cultural ties with neighboring countries, and openness to new cultural roads. Its rich cultural and tourism heritage allows for many alternative tourism types such as health, thermal tourism, ecotourism, agrotourism, faith tourism, gastronomic tourism, and appeals to all income groups. Numerous cultural road studies by the Ministry of Culture and Tourism, local governments, cultural roads association, universities, research institutions, and the private sector. Yes, as when we come to Turkey's cultural roads, as you can see in this map, there are the Cultural Road Society currently maintains 20 long distance trekking roads in Turkey. As you can see the list here. 4 of these cross international borders and continue into other parts of Europe and Asia. And you can see some of them here: Lycian Way, the St. Paul Trail, and via Egnatia from Rome to Byzantium across the Balkans, and via Eurasia, as you can see here, and all of them are in this map you can see, and the Sultan's Trail, the Great Süleyman's Road to the Europe. And now, before I said, I will tell one of the examples of certificated cultural road. This is the road of the olive tree. The olive tree dates back millions of years. The presence of the olive tree has marked not only the landscape, but also the everyday lives of the Mediterranean people. The relationship between this tree and human civilization has produced an immensely rich, living cultural heritage embedded in the regular habits of Mediterranean people. From gastronomy with the cultural influence of olive oil to art and traditions, the social development of these areas has been shaped mainly by the olive tree. As a mythical and sacred tree, it is associated with their rites and customs and has influenced their lifestyles, creating a specific ancient civilization, the olive tree civilization. I want to show this road example because when we say heritage, you can understand from this road that we are not only talking about architectural or archaeological sites, but also about nature and ancient lifestyles. As a result, we should remember that tangible and intangible heritage are strongly linked each other. And now, at the end of my presentation, I want to take some assessments and suggestions about for cultural road. When you are offering and suggesting a cultural road, what have you to do? First, it is important that road planning provides an opportunity to get in touch with the local people. Unlike central government studies that determine tourism strategies on a regional scale, such as tourism development zone, tourism access, master plans. Road planning is a functional tool for producing tourism programs that primarily take care of needs of local people, but also focus on the preservation of heritage. Therefore, the potential offered by the roads should be taken into account in order to strengthen locality and horizontal relations. However, it should not be forgotten that cultural roads should be made functional and sustainable not only to serve tourism, but also to increase awareness of cultural and natural heritage and to spread protection. Cultural roads should be suggested as a result of long and comprehensive research and multidisciplinary studies. SWOT analysis should be performed for the recommended cultural roads. In this analysis, threats to the road's components should be determined in advance, and extra care and sensitivity should be shown, especially for irreversible assets such as cultural heritage. As I mentioned before, local stakeholders should not be ignored in cultural roads. Tourism revenues should not be a priority. I hope this presentation will be useful for your work within the scope of the workshop on understanding the concept of cultural road and creating cultural roads. Thank you for listening to me. See you at the face-to-face studio studies on Monday. Bye-bye.